ASEAN Breakfast Call Dialogue, widening your horizons.
Hello and welcome back to Durian ASEAN. You're with Gowri.
I'm Arlene.
And this is Grace.
And we are moving on to our up close and personal session, which we are going to have every Monday from now on. So for today, we have a very special guest who have joined us. His name is Jes Ebrahim, and we are going to say hello to him.
Hello.
Hi. Hey.
Hi guys.
How are you doing?
I'm fine, thank you.
So you're actually the first guest for our up close and personal session that we have just commenced for the month of December.
Oh, cool. Okay.
And we are very happy to have you here.
Oh, thank you for having me.
So let's maybe do a little introduction. You just tell us about yourself, a little background to your work.
Sure. Well, I started playing music when I was 12, and at the same time, I got involved with an NGO set up in where I live, Bukit Amasara, and it's called the Tree Theatre Group.
Mm.
And basically, it's a organization that uses performing arts, theater, song, dance, even wayang kulit. Like we have some elements of traditional art into promoting environmental awareness and other social issues. So I started off with that, and I got more involved with environmental work, and but after that I got more into music as well after my secondary school and started playing in open mics, and even was approached by Universal to record a single of one of the songs I wrote when I was in Tree Theatre Group. So right now I'm really trying to pursue more into music and write more material and get more shows, I guess, just to share music.
Have you always been into environmental stuff, or was it only after you joined the theatre group that you became...
No, not really. Prior to the Tree Theatre Group, in my primary school, in Bukit Amasara, we have this yearly program whereby they would select an endangered animal, and the kids in the whole school would raise awareness. So they would write bulletin boards, they will write articles, essays, some drawing, painting competition, and also each week each class would collect newspapers to sell, and the money will use to help the NGO for that year that's involved with that particular animal. Like, for example, if it's sea turtles, then the money will go to an NGO helping sea turtles. And we've been doing it for the past, I would say, 14 years now. Yeah, it's been quite a long time. And in fact this year they're having a show. You can do small advertisement here at Annex Gallery. Yeah, if you're at Annex Gallery Friday night or Saturday night at 8:30, there'll be a show there by the Bukit Amasara kids, and you can come drop by. Yeah, and this week they're talking. This year they're talking about rhinos.
Okay.
And apparently there's one rhino left in Malaysia.
Oh my God.
Yeah, in the whole Malaysia, there's only one left. So.
Are you saying the Sumatran rhino?
Yeah, the Sumatran rhino, but the only one found in Malaysia, it's only in Borneo, I think. That's the last authentic wild rhino left. So they're gonna talk a bit about that, and come by and see what it's all about. So after during school, actually, when I was about 9. While doing these sort of extracurricular activities on environment school, I got involved with a local NGO called Yayasan Anak Warisan Alam, or YAWA. And YAWA does camps for kids age from primary school up to secondary. And that's where I really got more involved or more exposed to things like global warming, waste management, those kind of things. And also pollution, because in school it's more into conservation, animals. We didn't really delve into environmental topics too deep, in terms of air pollution and stuff like that. But with the NGO Yawa, I, along with other kids who are I think still involved in the environmental efforts, they got to learn a lot from that organization. And so from Yawa I got more and more involved with their camps, and eventually I got to be exposed to the conferences organized by the United Nations Environment Program. So Yawa has been a frequent participant in those conferences, and I managed to like participate on their behalf, like represent them and Malaysia with a few other kids to go to these conferences. And that's when like I got more bigger picture of what it was. It wasn't just about like forests or like the tropical forest or the sea. It was a like global thing. Like everywhere around the world, you have kids the same age dealing with like different type of environmental situations. It could be on deserts. It could be on like the neighborhood wants to stop air pollution, so they stop car idling, for example. Those kind of things. Like it was really interesting to see like everywhere around the world, like everyone's trying to fix the environmental problems, and that really gave me a like wider perspective. So when I came back from learning about those conferences, I with Tree Theatre Group and also with Yawa, we managed to do a lot of programs. And I think in Malaysia right now, the whole green movement, they call it the green movement. You have people like Eco Nights and stuff like that coming up and organizing really big scale events that I think will bring the awareness to another level. And I'm really glad to see that Malaysia is going that direction. Like they're making environmental or sustainable living a kind of lifestyle and culture, which I think is really needed in Malaysia. So but talking about that, just a picture of where it's coming from. Like the songs that I've written so far in Treated Group revolves around those kind of things, on being green, on being young and responsible, and also other social issues. And
and you work with children as well.
Right. I'm actually helping them the school play right now. The one I was mentioning about because I forgot to mention, because in that school SKB as well, at the end of the year, the kids will come up with a like drama play they will show. So about that animal. So this year is on rhinos. So I was helping them out the past few weeks with their wayang kulit. So I was teaching them a bit of wayang kulit, and they're gonna show it on Saturday night. So actually. They're practicing right now, so hopefully it'll be a good show on tomorrow. Tomorrow and Saturday.
Okay, and it seems that you're really passionate about environmental issues. I have heard some of your songs, and they are themed around environment and social issues. But then you also seem to be really passionate about it. Is there one particular cause that you feel really strongly about?
Well, talking about environment, especially in Malaysia, is quite a complicated thing, because especially how the industries that we're involved in involves a lot of the destruction of our ecology, for example. So I don't know if saying it, it might be quite sensitive, but one thing that I'm really passionate about is indigenous rights, and also I'm kind of like an anti-palm oil development kind of guy, because it's really, I don't know, I think it's an industry that causes more damage than benefit if you're talking about people on the ground, like the people involved in it.
Definitely, palm oil industry brought us haze.
Yeah, exactly. And actually, I wrote a song about like that, and it's called "Season of the Haze," and it's something about how. Basically, it is an industry that enriches the country in a way, but also when you have this like yearly haze that comes, it really switches your like, wait, is this like really worth it? Because if air pollution continues, and especially in Asia and this part of Southeast Asia, if like these sort of things happen, these open burnings, and it's on the long term, it's going to be very, very bad for the health of the people, for example, and also the livelihood of the locals, because like I said, it's a very complicated issue. There's also involves indigenous peoples and their rights, because a lot of them are displaced from their ancestral homeland in order for these progress to happen. And most of the time, I think what's the problem is that I'm not saying that development is a problem. Development is good in any country. You're looking for a way to progress, but when
more responsible,
exactly,
and
yeah.
development.
I think more sustainable and more responsible development should be implemented and enforced, because when when you have people's rights all of a sudden, like, just put aside for the sake of I don't know, enriching oneself, I think that's a bit selfish. But yeah, a lot of the indigenous people nowadays, I find, looking from outside, looking to their efforts, they're really like standing up for what their rights and what they believe is theirs, their ancestral land, and that's good. Like, they're really active online. They're just starting up campaigns and petitions, and they're organizing, they're mobilizing the youth, which is really, really good, because I think that's one element, like especially in Malaysia, in the urban culture, like we don't really see that element or that dimension, the indigenous youth, like what do they have to offer in terms of creativity, in terms of progress. And you'll be surprised that a lot of them are involved in really interesting industries. I know of a young a guy like around my age, he's working in advertising, he's designing like websites and stuff like that, and he's an indigenous youth. And what I'm saying is that, you shouldn't be surprised that they're in here, but we should give them that level of respect, and because especially they are the custodians of this land, they're the original.
So do you have songs that actually dedicate or attributed towards the indigenous people?
I do, but it's a bit. It's a new song. It's a relatively new song, and that song talks about basically how change is not in your hands. That you're just a witness to what's happening around you. You're not benefiting, you're not participating per se, but things are happening around you, but it's out of your hands. But yet, you're attached to this, this space, but you can't do anything about it. And that's the angle of that song. But I think there's a lot of dialogue going on, and definitely the problems that I just brought up, they're getting better. I mean, there are more people coming to terms and discussing on better ways to manage the palm oil industry, to manage communicating with the indigenous community. And I think, it's just that these issues need to be, I think, brought a bit more forward, especially in our country. Yeah, like more highlighted, I say.
And maybe that's that's the message you're trying to get across as well through all your songs that you're writing.
Lately, yes. Actually, lately I've been dwelling more into these topics. But for the songs that I have recorded, this was about 7 years ago, or like 5, 6 years ago. And so these songs were mostly they were written for children, and because the NGO that I was involved in involves a lot of kids that's mostly primary school children. So the lyrics and everything had to be more straightforward, and it wasn't too deep. Like we wouldn't sing to kids about like, you should save the orang asli and stuff. No, they'll be like, what does that mean? No, we're talking about like trees and war,
fireflies,
exactly, yeah.
So how are their responses towards your songs?
I hope they like it. I hope they got the songs. I don't know, or maybe
did they sing along to?
Yeah, they did. So, but I don't know if they just sing along because maybe to them it's fun.
But why kids? Why not adults as well?
That being said, I'm not denying any adults who like not listen to the songs, but if they like it, then I think that's good too. Because I really want the songs I write to try to reach as much as many people as they can, especially when it comes to like these issues. That's why I try to make simple, so that I think both adults and children can like get the message. And
I mean, there's nothing wrong for adults to sing children's songs.
Yeah, exactly.
So we still sing like Christmas songs, happy birthday song. Those are like universal songs that are sung by all.
I think if you're a parent, you have to like sing the nursery rhymes to your kids, like Twinkle Little Star and all that. Yeah.
I guess it's it's the easiest way to remember songs. I mean, we can have a very deeper message in it,
right.
But then putting the simplest to form can deliver message in the very easier way. And then I think making songs for children is actually very good start, in my opinion, because it's about education. So when you educate all those youngsters, the younger generation, when they grow up, they will grow with the song, you see. So at the end of it, they know about what they need to do. They don't need to know about deforestation or palm oil industry. Not
Right.
yet. Not at this
Yeah,
stage.
exactly.
Yeah. So music is one way to educate all those young people.
Thank you very much, Grace. We are going to take a short break, and when we
We'll
come
be
back,
back.
we will discuss more about Jes Ebrahim and his music.
ASEAN Breakfast Call Dialogue, widening your horizons.
Hello and welcome back. You're with Gowri,
And this is Arlene.
And this is Grace.
and Jes Ebrahim is still
Hello.
here with us.
Yeah, it's
I-
Ibrahim. Jess.
Ibrahimovic. I'm so tempted to
Oh,
say
you-
that.
Yes, I am the football player. No, I'm not.
So yeah, Gowri, I was actually curious because earlier on we discussed a lot about your passion in environment and issues that you want to carry, and you seem to focus a lot on trying to simplify music for environmental causes. But do you also do like music on love, relationship, all this typical
Right.
music genre? Or
The love songs and
Yeah.
well, I have some songs I've written, things besides on these issues. Definitely like more personal stuff, I guess you would say. But I have not recorded any of these material yet. However, I do sing like these songs whenever I go for like open mics, or just a headline gig, for example, because like recently, about 2 weeks ago at Madhyakarya, I was helping do their Friday night gigs, and I was able to sing some of my more personal songs there.
What's the title so we can like anticipate?
Well, there's like this one song called "Calling." Yeah, that's like I think that's the most love emo song I've written. I don't
What
know,
is it all about? Calling?
Okay, calling. It's basically saying that everybody has the word calling, meaning like there's something that's calling you, or you have a purpose, a calling that using that wordplay, and basically saying that there's someone or something that is waiting for you.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Yeah.
I thought it's like "Call Me Maybe." Like
No, didn't someone write that song already? Like,
okay, actually, another song that I really wanna, actually two songs. I wanna, maybe you can explain more. One
Sure.
is "Kenang Kelip," which is apparently is Gowri's favorite now.
It is. It's so catchy. It's
I'm glad
fun.
you like it. Thank you.
And another one is "Keamanan," which has also a story behind it.
Right.
So let's start with "Kenang Kelip"
Yeah.
first.
Okay.
I'm gonna sing that song when I
Kunang
have a
Kelip.
baby
The baby will be like,
to sleep.
You have my permission. You can use it as
Thank
a lullaby. But it's not really a lullaby though. It's more like a I don't sing along chirpy song. But what Kunang Clip was written in 2006, and this is when I just like started writing music with Tree Theatre Group, and again this was involved with SKBD, Bukit Damsara, Sekolah Kawasan Bukit Damsara, and it was also involved with their endangered animals play, and that year was on fireflies, and it was like really interesting. What, fireflies are endangered? And yeah, apparently they are considered quite endangered, and here in Peninsula Malaysia, and especially because of like things like the haze and stuff like that. For
and
example,
also in order for them to survive, they need clean environment,
exactly,
clean water,
yes.
clean
Yes, they need to
air.
be near the mangrove swamps areas. But so that was a challenge because like the drama teacher was like saying, "Oh, we should have like a song or something. Do you think you can write something like, write something on fireflies?" Like, and
So you went all the way to Kuala Selangor to get inspiration?
actually we did. The school had a trip. The school had a trip, and they were like, "Okay, why don't?" And it was me and my friend Ashraf, who used to be an ex-student as well. And so that we followed them to like Kuala Selangor to when they were bringing their kids out. And remember, like how I said, they had the newspaper collecting. So basically, the class that collects the most newspaper that year will get like a present or prize. So that prize for that year was the Kuala Selangor trip. So okay, we went, followed, and that's when like the teacher was like, "Hey, you should like write a song about Kuchira. Like, okay, fine. So inside the song, we're talking about like how those fireflies are very beautiful. They're just naturally, sparkly, and they're around. They're like Christmas lights, like with no plug. Like they're just there, on the trees. And so that's why the song was mainly portraying about like the beauty of fireflies. But it was really interesting to find out that they actually are facing these kind of problems, like the fireflies in Malaysia. So that's how Kunang Kelip was written, and the chorus is quite repetitive because we want the kids to like sing along. Yeah,
it's very interesting that you wrote a song about it, because when we think of endangered species, we think of like rhinos, tigers, and all. We don't think of something like a
insects,
firefly, like mosquitoes.
Apparently,
flies.
bees are endangered as well. Bees and butterflies.
And these are things that are not highlighted, and
exactly.
it's even kind of hard to believe, actually.
Very, very hard. And it's very fun, ironic, because we would think that because they're small creatures, they're quite insignificant to the bigger scheme of things, but they actually contribute a lot. Like, for example, bees, like, apparently they're endangered, but they are the one responsible for
our honey.
Fruits, our honey, for the pollination is going around. That's how we get the sweet stuff in nature. But
the good fruits.
And
the good fruits.
For medicine purposes, like they produce like propolis, all this stuff. It's really good for the health usage as well. Yeah.
And it's like, it's so simple how things can get like off balance if let's say the bees are gone, then these things won't.
And they are good indicators to show that how far we have destroyed the planet.
Right.
Because the moment these insects extinct is the moment when we realize that there's no way of us going back anymore.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so it was really interesting to learn about that, how insects.
I visited Kuala Selangor.
Oh, you did?
I saw fireflies there.
Right.
And we had to be really, really quiet, and because apparently they're very sensitive to the frequency of the sound.
And really
so
dark also.
Yeah, so we had to be
light.
quiet, like, okay, they're there. But
They
it was
can
so
hear you, Grace.
beautiful. It was so beautiful, and I wanted to I actually had one in my hand. I was like, ooh, I got one. But they were really, really, really beautiful, fantastic. Yeah.
And I'm so excited now.
Yeah, I mean, another of your song is about peace, keamanan.
Right.
And what is that for? I mean, when you write it.
Keamanan was, I think, the second or third song we wrote as Three Theatre Group. And it was not only myself, it was myself, my cousin, and my father was involved in that song because...
your dad also?
Yeah, my dad, Mr. Jes.
Mr. Jes.
It's like, hey son, I think you should have this as the lyrics. I seriously think. Don't say no, I'm your father.
Yeah.
I will imagine it.
Kind of went like that, I guess. No, but of course he's involved with Three Theatre Group as well. Actually, he kind of helped establish it with the other parents around the neighborhood. So what happened was we were approached by Aman Malaysia. I'm mistaken, Aman Malaysia or Aman Palestine. I'm so sorry I forgot it. But this NGO that actually does work for the people in Palestine, and they was saying, we have an event coming up. Could you do like a song, or could you perform a few of your songs? And that's when we started like, okay, why do we write about peace and in the Middle East, in that region? But what the process of writing that song was, we wanted to make it in a point of view of a child. Like, what is war to a child?
Okay.
It's something that they did not start. It's something that they did not intend. It was not in any of their instincts, for young people to fight each other. So we're basically trying to clarify that war and everything's actually it's a result of adults disagreeing with each other, and the people affected most is the children, and of course the marginalized and the women. But for kids, it's something that they have to grow up experiencing. These kids, especially in Gaza or in Palestine,
and they don't have a choice.
Yes, exactly, and they can only go two ways. Is either they hope that this is going to end, or they just be kept in that small space and just lose their mind. But that was always the picture of, I think, generally what people think about people in war, and that's also the type of picture we had when writing the song as well, that people are in despair, the kids, they're asking what do we ever do, and it's not like our fault. But one interesting thing that happened was in 2010, I was approached by Universal Music, and they wanted to record that song and a few other songs as well. We discussed, but that song we did record it in that year, 2011. We released it, and 2012 released it. 2013 at the month of December, we were Universal and myself. We were approached by Aqsa Sharif, which is a local NGO that does a lot of work at Gaza as well. And during that time, it was just after the ceasefire in this was back in 2013. 2012. I'm sorry, December 2012. They just had a ceasefire with the war going on with Israel, and so they invited us to say like, we're doing an auditing trip. We're just going to go and check out our bread factories, our libraries, our schools that we help pay for there, and the generators. Just want to see how everything's going. So they're like, why don't you come perform keamanan? Then we were like, it was pretty interesting, but when you have the offer, would you like to come to a war zone and sing a song? And you're like, wait a minute. But we eventually agreed,
so you went all the way to Gaza Strips.
Yes, but we had another type of agreement though, because we kind of discussed and said, to go all the way there just to sing songs, I don't think that's like that's what do you call it? It's anything beneficial, So
you want to throw a few stones, not just one stone.
You're right. No, but what we decided to come up with was we came up with an art workshop for the kids. We designed like a few activities that they could do. So we brought like batik and some canvas and some art material for them to play around with. Some cameras, they took some photographs. And just a workshop, a fun activity for them. So we did that as well, and it was just amazing to see how the kids express themselves. And
what is the condition of the kids there? If you can describe to us.
Oh yes, I was getting to that. Sorry, because like I said, everyone had this perception of people in war areas are just like traumatized, and they're just gonna be that way the rest of their life from start to end. But the moment I went to Gaza and saw how the people were, I was really surprised because they were very active, very cultural, very warm and welcoming.
When you say cultural, meaning?
It's they have everything. Like for example, they have malls, they have hotels, they have.
It's like
businesses.
A country.
It is a country.
Or
it's a
like
functioning
a city.
country. Yeah, it's a functioning city. Everyone's working. Everyone's going to school. And you would think that people will be hiding in their bunkers or just like waiting for the next one, but no, they're just out and about doing their daily thing and just so welcoming and open.
Another imagination when we talk about countries in war, it would be people living in refugee camps,
right?
Like really confined refugee camps, but
definitely.
But it's not the case with Gaza.
I would not say so, because although Gaza, how the city is right now, is very packed because a lot of the buildings are occupied and where they stay, it's definitely not much room for movement. But with what they have, they still are very positive. They don't. They're not the type of people to give in to these kind of things. Like we asked a lot of them, like even the kids, what do you want to be when you grow up? Like, do you have ambitions? Like for example, like that was like one of the questions we just asked a few kids, and they said they wanted to be like teachers, they want to be scientists, they want to be engineers. One guy even said like, I want to be a sports trainer. Like, what? A sports trainer? Okay, that's cool. Like, but it really opens like your eyes to these kind of like the situations and how the people like adapt to it. And I think they've been through it for a long enough time to actually kind of, they decided that no, even though things are going to happen to us, we're still going to live on. And you can see it and you can feel it even. That's why when I went, like, as I entered like the border through Rafah, through Egypt, I had this weird feeling of calmness. I was scared at first, of course, seeing like the border like walls, and like, oh no, where am I going to?
Were you alone, or were you with a few? Like,
there was actually 13 people. Like that was it was a big delegation as well with Aqsa Sharif and myself and Mr. Kamal. Actually, we went to represent Universal, and so yeah, like the moment we entered, and it was totally peaceful. Like you didn't feel that urgency of looking out on your back, it just felt, I don't know, things just felt safe.
Okay.
I'll just put it that way. And everyone kind of made it clear that this is a safe place. Like, even the locals are saying that, don't worry, you're with us.
Probably your
It's
mom
okay.
and dad would be like, oh my god.
Yeah, I don't know.
Calling
But
you
they
over
seem
and
excited. You're
over
like,
again.
oh, Gaza, okay, go lah, Gaza. Like, what? Really? I'm going to Gaza, But they were supportive.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you were telling us about working with the children.
Right. We did a few workshops and a few art activities with them. And yeah, they were very receptive. They were very participative, and they shared a lot with us. And it was a fun night because we had to do like a big show where they presented their works. They would come on stage, show their parents like, oh, we did this today, and yeah, it was really good to see that they enjoyed it. But another thing I like to highlight was like one very interesting that happened was. This was when we were about to leave, like a day before we were about to leave. So we went to like the city and just walked around, just see what they have. Buy some baklava for your mom or something like. Okay lah. Then across the road they had the library, the Gaza library. I was like, that place looks very interesting. Let me check it out. So I go inside and there's a hall fitting about, I think, at least 100 people, boys and girls. And they were basically like having a forum, and they had like a slideshow, and they were like showing graphs and all that. And I was like, what's this all about? And at the front they had like, those usual booths, registration booths where they're like, oh, sign up here or stuff like that. And they had basically books, and they had Arabic and English translated books about what the whole thing was about. So I went through it, and wow, I was really surprised that they were basically discussing on women's involvement in politics. Like they were having a forum on, and like they have like all these charts, and it's really nicely done, really nicely edited, printed out in very good like books and stuff. And this is a war zone, keep that in mind. Like, but you have all these kind of things, and they were saying how a lot of people agree on women's involvement in politics, and a lot of people like really vote for it and that kind of stuff. So I was like, wow, these are the kind of things that the youth are discussing there in Gaza. Like, this
and
is
what about
really...
Malaysia? You're asking yourself, right?
Exactly. And you have these kind of like very passionate young people there, and I think they're really it really shifted my whole support for the whole cause. All this while it was very more to the rhetoric of religion or sympathy, like, oh no, like those people are just war victims. But now I see it in a whole new respect.
This
it's
is more like a human rights thing, right? It's nothing to do with religion anymore.
Exactly. It's just young people or people in general who feel that it's important for them to to keep on living life, and to to make sure their families and whatnot at that space they're given, or that time that they're in, that at least they will survive in that span, and they will live in that span. And I think that totally changed my whole perception of the issue. And I really hope for the best of them, because they're really young people, very passionate, and I think they can do a lot for their society, and they are doing a lot for their society. They just need to be given more credit on it, because at times when they're saying, oh, you'll be labeled like, oh, terrorism, or this is a war on religion. But it's not. It's a struggle to keep your identity,
for self-determination.
Basically. Exactly. And I think they're the best examples of survivors out there, or one of the best examples of survivors out there. And I hope them all the best, and hopefully, if God willing, or if time allows it, they'll be free for a moment, and there'll be peace at that area.
It's very interesting to hear your stories, because you were there, and then you experienced the whole the society and the culture side. But it's also very contradicting how the media portrays the situation, and how believed received from the media information.
Especially in Malaysia, the media has always played the issue of Gaza along the line of religion.
Yes, and sympathy. And they're playing the sympathy card a lot with that one. And that's one of the things I'm worried about, because by doing that, you're kind of giving, like, it's as if we're telling the Gazan people what is going on with you, as opposed to like hearing from the Gazan people what is going on. It's like you're painting the picture for them, and you're saying that this is your reality, because that's how a lot of these campaigners over here, that's how they they go about it.
Okay, I have to be frank. So I'm reluctant to anyone actually ask for donation to Gaza.
Right.
At on one point, I feel that it can be a form of cheating. I don't know whether the money would actually go to the Gazan people. And on the second point, like you said, it plays along the line of sympathy, which I totally disagree. I think like when it comes to the fate of the Gaza, it has to be put in the perspective that is real, that is based on human rights.
Basically human necessity and dignity. And I think it's a bit unfortunate because Malaysia being I would say a Muslim affiliated country, with these ties with a lot of people in the Middle East, and that's a whole other issue about politics. It's what people upstairs are what they are gambling. That's their thing.
That's another level.
Yeah, that's another level.
Yeah,
yeah, exactly.
Well,
but I do think that politics plays quite a major role in why these perceptions or these things are coming about. But
from your angle, when you visit that place and after that you bring back that experiences to Malaysia, if you want to put another angle to the issue of Gaza or to the issue of either human rights or environment within region that Malaysians feel passionate about, how would that be?
Well, I think one thing is that we should not pick sides in this conflict, because how this conflict is, how the game that they're trying to make it seem like they're playing is that there's team A, team B, and it's always either you're for Gaza or Palestine or you're for Israel, for example. And in Malaysia, it's kind of very, very scary that at how people react to that kind of thing and how they how I call it pledge their allegiance. They would say very, very inhumane things about the other, dehumanizing the other. But I think that just defeats the whole purpose about fighting for rights, because it does not solve the problem when you condemn a person and you give them the same sort of hate that you think is being directed towards the victim, because that's not going to make the situation better. You can't fight fire with fire, for example. And one interesting thing that happened in Gaza was that I asked this elderly man who was in Gaza even before 1948 and stuff like that. So he was a kid growing up pre-Israel-Palestine division, and I asked him about the relationship with him and the Jewish people, the followers of Judaism back in the day, and he basically said that we have no problem whatsoever. They were our neighbors, they were like our brothers. We lived side by side. We didn't have any animosity, but he did mention that it was because of what happened post 1948 with the immigration and the political ideology of Zionism, for example. Like he did say that the attitude of the European Jews that came settled was quite different, because a lot of people tend to forget that there were a large number of Jewish people living in the Middle East that coexisted, that lived peacefully with the Arabs for thousands of years, hundreds of years, and the idea of Zionism was a Russian, Eastern European kind of setting. It came out from the whole socialistic lifestyle. It wasn't really a religious movement,
it's more of a political agenda. It came out of this Jewish National Jewish World Jewish Congress. They wanted to create a safe space or space for the Jewish people to exist,
to live. And that's the thing, because I really do not disagree with the return of the Jewish people to that land, because
but they shouldn't chase other people out.
Yes, that's one thing.
Right?
And I think what happened was that I think there wasn't any communication or consultation with the people back then, meaning I think the migrants, or the first wave of European Jewish migrants, I think they've had a lot of trauma, because what they went through in Europe was very, very traumatizing. They were persecuted openly, and when you come to a hostile situation where you're giving a choice that, you can have this place, but you got to talk to the the locals
the
first.
original owners of the place.
But also, I'm guessing that it was a very complicated time, and it was a very complicated history, and it went down very, very badly. But I think nowadays, coming back to nowadays, I think it's it's going to change, because you see people in the media, both in Palestine and Israel and around the world, who are actually come together and like know the commonality and the commonality respect of human rights and dignity, and everyone is like speaking out for the marginalized, whether they're in Palestine or in Israel. Like, and it's good to have that kind of conversation now, because I think that's the way forward. The young people have to start realizing that the mistakes or the things of the past, you have to leave it in the past, and you have to think about the future. And talking to a lot of the young people there in Gaza, and I asked like some of them, "Oh, do you want to like chase out the Jews, for example, if you have, you know, if you get your country back?" And they're like, "No, we don't want any of that to happen. We just want like, you know, the borders to be where they are, because the treatment of, you know, the borders there is pretty complicated as well." But yeah, I think there's hope, and we should really give that support in that light, for the support for reconciliation, the support for working together. And I think there's a lot of opportunity for them there, and I think it's going to happen soon. But we just got to keep on opting for it. Yeah.
I think no one will be able to guess that there's such a deep story behind one song. It's such a powerful message too.
Well, I would say this came about after the song, though. It's after the song was after going there and seeing. But definitely, I would say through the song, I managed to like learn a lot about the issue.
So you can write the second episode of that song.
What actually happened? This is what I learned. No.
Yeah.
So are you working on an album right now?
I'm planning to record maybe 2 or a few songs with Universal soon.
Will you be collaborating with Zainal Abidin, the father
No.
of all the green song movement, or whatever you call it?
That would be an honor if that ever happens. But no, not anytime soon though. But yeah, I'll hopefully in the next year we'll be releasing maybe one more single.
Okay.
However, I am doing some other side projects like on my own, some recording on the side, but that's more to. It's not really commercial kind of thing. It's not under any label, but it's just some things, some of my personal songs experimenting with, and hopefully I'll release it. But you can maybe catch some of the material at the open mics. Like I'm always
let us
at.
know. Yeah, we'll come and support you.
Sure. Well, if you're ever around PJ, I mean we are in PJ right now, but I'm most of the time I'm at Merdekaria, which is a really cool space. They basically started last year, and this whole concept was basically run by Mr. Brian Gomez. He himself a local author, and his initial idea was a place to sell local books, like published locally, local works. Then he himself plays music and recorded some stuff. Like, okay, I want to try to sell local CDs, and so he set up basically a space in PJ where they have those things. They have local books on the shelves. You can buy even local CDs, and you can get them. And yeah, I think Gracie came and performed your band like a few times. Yeah,
actually, I bought a book from there.
Yeah. It's a really cool space. And if you guys want to know more up and coming local artists, I think that's really one of the places to catch out. And I'll be there most of the time. So if you wanna, maybe you might see me perform there if you're ever around.
Yeah. So you already have a couple of singles now, and you're planning to write more, and then eventually there will be an album with Universal.
Gowri's really pushing you to release an album.
Oh, don't worry. I'll try to come up with something. But
why are you moving away from the mic when you say that?
No, but hopefully, yes, I do plan one day to actually do a full album. I will let you know.
Well, I also want to ask you, because a lot of artists are usually concerned about their music being more commercial, so they write about more generic stuff. But how do you keep yourself focused to these issues that you feel strongly about? What drives you to
don't turn on the TV.
Stay on track? Don't turn on the TV. I heard that.
How do I stay focused? I guess with the internet nowadays, I'm saying a lot of things, issues around, and I don't know, the way I write songs lately is just basically trying to sum up things which I kind of like observe. It could be in the process of a few months or a few weeks, but let's say, like, what's the feeling I get out of that whole issue? So I've been writing about some recent issues. I won't say what exactly, but things that I've been seeing lately, and how do I stay focused on you meaning to not write generic stuff? Is that what you mean? I don't know. It's not that I tried not to write generic stuff. I would like to, like, one day, if I happen to come up with a nice melody and just simple stuff, I would love to write that kind of song. But I don't, like, it's just that the songs I decide to write on, and I think I have this, like, urge to kind of want to say what I want to say about that thing. So that's my approach to writing songs. I want to say something about this, but how? So that's when I use the tools of melody or the things that rhyme, like, for example, as a process of writing songs. But that being said, I'm not against, like, generic pop songs. I can enjoy some like generic pop songs. Hopefully one day, maybe I can write one. Kunang Klip, I don't know. Do you think Kunang Klip is like a generic fun song? Like, that could be
a beautiful song.
Thank you.
So, if you guys have no further questions, we are at the end of our ABC dialogue.
Oh, I do have a question. One last one. I'm so sorry, but you are promoting a green cause and a green movement, or at least through your song, something green. If you have like one thing you can not advise, but more like practical things that people can do in their daily lives to be more greener, what would that be?
I think one of the things that we in Malaysia have to work on is how we consume, like how we spend, how all the things that we buy. I think we need to buy things wisely, because especially now with the economy, that's one thing, and also with the resources we have is another thing. If we keep wasting resources, that's only going to contribute to a lot of negative impact to the environment. So what I do suggest is that for the young people, for those who are out there and you see like a lot of shiny, glittering things around, just keep in mind of like, do you really need this? Do you really need it for now?
So you are directing this to women, right? Because
no, I'm
women
not.
are the ones that are usually into shining, glaring stuff.
Oh, really? Okay. If you say so. Well, no, just like
no comments. No comments.
But this is for everyone out there, and also maybe just keep your eye open and see what's going on around, because the culture here in Malaysia is a lot to. We tend to really try to look outside a lot, and we forget what's happening around. So maybe for those young people as well, to just see what's going on, and if you want to get involved with environmental activities and stuff like that, it's surprising to see how many groups they have on Facebook, for example, who are inviting people to come for their programs, and you should definitely check them out. There's WWF Malaysia, there is Eco Nights, there is Eco Warriors, and they have a lot of activities around KL and PJ, which I think can really get you start to be more exposed to the environmental movement. And also for those, because I know there's a lot of young people out there who say like, what's the point? The world's going to end one day. Well, although I do agree that the world is going to end one day, but however, I don't think it's too late to make a positive spin on bad things that are happening right now. We just got to keep on doing what we do, and just don't give up, and if you feel that you can do something, just do it.
Okay.
Just,
Thank you very much, Jes Ebrahim, for joining us today.
Thank you.
And we are going to listen to
his song
after this.
All right, okay.
Kunang Klip.
Thank you.
Sure.